calligraphy clip is about setting margins. You've done your piece of calligraphy, and here I've chosen a poem by Andrew Motion, and I've chosen it because very conveniently the lines are roughly even. So often what happens is that you have a very long line or some short lines, but this is nice because the left margin and the right margin are about the same. Now what you need to set your margins are these. 2 L-shaped pieces. Now as you can see, I've just cut these from a large packing case. Doesn't matter what they are, where they come from, but 2 L shapes with nice right angles so that you can slide them this way and that to set the margins. Now generally speaking, for a conventional piece of work, you have a margin at the top which is about 2 units, which is half that of the bottom, which is 4 units, and either side you have 3 units. It doesn't matter what the units are, whether they are centimetres or inches, but generally the top margin is half the size of the bottom margin. Now this is for a conventional piece. If you add the credit for the poet, you will need to add a little bit more space, and if you add a title, that top margin will need to go up as well. If you go a little bit different and perhaps put the title at the side, then you need to allow for that in setting your margins. But this is very conventional. This poem is about getting out in the countryside, the lovely wide skies. So you might like to give your poem a wide sky. At the top you could perhaps put a little bit of ground pastel, not oil pastel, but ordinary pastel at the top, applied with cotton wool. You could perhaps give a sense of space by allowing a wider margin on the right-hand side. That might be just a wee bit too much. But there is nothing to say that your margin should be conventional. The one thing that is important is that you don't make your margins tight. That really makes me feel as though those letters are alive and gasping for air. Calligraphy does need room to breathe. Now, I did another version of this poem on vellum, on a scrap of vellum, as you can see here. Didn't place it properly, so look, I've got to do something with that. But this margin of cob nuts and hops, let me just position that properly, will need to be taken into allowance when I'm setting the margin for this. And as you can see, annoyingly, I really am going to have to do something with that right-hand corner. So for setting margins, the most important thing is you get yourself 2 L-shaped pieces of card like this and slide them around so that you get the best margins that you can for your piece. And I'm just going to slightly pull that out a little bit. Obviously that won't quite work there, but that's how it should be on that piece.